Well, good afternoon, Living Water. This is Pastor Jesse coming to you for what I hope is a series of updates over the next couple of weeks as we go through this time together, as we go through this time of somewhat uncertainty. It's my hope that on every Friday I will give you an update to fill you in on where we as a church are, what our plan of action is, and also where we as a Sheldon campus are at and what we are currently doing in the midst of this current situation. As such, there have been a couple of questions that have been sent to me or spoken to me that I think need answering. The first of which being, are we having service this Sunday? Well, the short answer is yes, but the longer answer is it probably will not look the same as it has in the past. What our current plan is, we are planning on having the service at 10 o'clock on Sunday, as per usual, but it will be streamed on Facebook Live, so our service will be online only. What's going to happen is Pastor Gary and myself, we will record it in Orange City. We're having a praise band, a couple of people, so there will be a time of singing, there will be a time of prayer. It will be co-taught by Gary and myself. There will be a time for you to give, and then we will close with a song. So the short answer is, are we having service? Yes, we are, but it's going to be online only, streamed on Facebook Live, and also to be seen at a later time on YouTube if you so wish. We anticipate that this is the same model is going to happen, hopefully for the next 2-3 weeks, but possibly for the foreseeable future. So as we try and flesh out some of what worship will look like moving forward, we ask your patience, and we ask that you join us on Sunday for that time of worship again at 10 a.m. on Facebook Live. Another big question that's been sent to me, is the church closed? Well, yes and no again. The church will not be closed to staff because we still have to do our work. We have to figure out what this looks like in terms of a community. We have to figure out how to best care for people. So we will still be doing our work. So in that respect, it will not be closed. But is church closed as far as physically to the general public? And the answer is yes. Unfortunately, we are at that point where we are going to be closing all doors. And if you want to come into church, we ask that you would either set up an appointment with myself, with Jamie, with Sandy, or Amanda, at least for the Sheldon campus, or Pastor Gary or Donna in the Orange City campus. And at that point, we will let you into the doors. Aside from that, we are pretty much keeping the doors locked and closed for people who want to come in, which means, unfortunately, at this time, no drop-ins, that kind of thing. Now, that being said, like I said, we will take some appointments. We will also be doing a lot of our communication via email, via text message, via phone call. So we are doing the work of the church. It's just going to look a different way than it has in the past. Another question I received is, I just got this email today regarding a prayer service. What is that all about? Well, it's actually really exciting because our mayor of Sheldon, his name is Greg Giels. He's a great guy. He was talking with some members of the Ministerial Association, and we thought, what a better way than to lift our entire community up in prayer during this time. As such, on Sunday afternoon, this Sunday afternoon, we will have a community prayer service. How that will look is we will have every business in town is opening up their parking lot, except for Village Northwest. For obvious reasons, we want to quarantine that segment of the population off as much as possible for their own safety. But every other business in town and every other church in town is going to open up their parking lot. And we encourage you to show up and sit in your cars from 3 to 4 o'clock and join us in prayer, because 5 of us pastors will be praying on KIWA radio. So it is a community prayer service where we can all join in prayer together as a Sheldon community. It will be broadcast on the radio from 3 to 4 o'clock on Sunday. So I ask that you please join us for that. There are a couple of things that are on people's minds, obviously, in this situation. What about food for kids as the schools have closed? Well, thank goodness that the school district, Sheldon School District, has been gracious enough to be willing to serve kids, any child, ages 18 and under, breakfast and lunch through the duration of this time. The food distribution sites are obviously over at Sheldon Public. The United Methodist Church is also a food distribution site. First RCA here in town is a food distribution site, and so is St. Pat's, which is our local Catholic grade school. So yes, if you have any issues regarding what do I do for food for my child during this time, because I rely on school lunches, those school lunches, regardless of where you go to school, will be provided by Sheldon Public Schools. I just need to encourage you for a few things in this moment as well. That answers a lot of the questions that I have been asked, but I want to encourage you, if you have any questions, let myself, let Pastor Gary, let Sandy, let Donna, let a council member, let a care elder know. We will answer them as best we can. And I'd also like to encourage you to check on your neighbors. I'd like to encourage you that if your neighbors need food, or they need someone to walk their dog, or they just need some child care or something, check on your neighbors. Love your brothers and sisters in Christ. Love even those who don't know Christ, because what a better time than to go be the hands and feet of Christ than right now. In other words, check on your neighbors. Love them as much as you can. And if you need something, once again, call myself. Call Pastor Gary. Call on the elders. We are available at this time to answer any questions and support you as best we can. And I know I've said this a lot, but I want to keep encouraging you to remain calm. Remember that God has got this. There's a passage that I really like. It comes from Psalm 25. It says this: "For the honor of your name, O Lord, forgive my many, many sins. Who are those who fear the Lord? He will show them the path they should choose. They will live in prosperity, and their children will inherit the land. The Lord is a friend to those who fear him. He teaches them his covenant. My eyes are always on the Lord, for he rescues me from the traps of my enemies." I like that. My eyes are always on the Lord, for he rescues me from the traps of my enemies. And that is very fitting, because that's the time we are in right now. Though our enemies might not be flesh and blood, our enemy always is sin. It's always the devil. And the devil is trying to use this time, this pandemic, to make us live in fear. This is not a time to live in fear. This is a time to live in boldness. Boldness to proclaim the name of the Lord. Boldness to keep doing the work of the church. Boldness to love our neighbors as ourselves. This is a time for us to live for the Lord, to love the Lord, and to love one another. So I encourage you, remain calm. God has got this.